This is James Taylor, and you're listening to The Creative Life. The Creative Life podcast is a show created for you, the creative. If you're looking for inspiration, motivation, and advice while at home, at work, or on your daily commute, then this show is for you. Each episode brings you a successful creative, whether that's a musician, writer, artist, designer, performer, educator, or creative entrepreneur. They share their journey, their successes, their failures, their creative process, their insights, and much, much more. This episode is sponsored by C School, the online school for creativity training. If you'd like to unleash your creative potential and access a free creativity blueprint training series, then just head over to c.school. That's www.c.school for your free training series.
In this episode, I speak with Steve Sims, and we talk about creating themes for your year and how to connect with influencers. Enjoy this episode. Hey there, it's James Taylor. I'm delighted today to be joined by Steve Sims. Steve Sims is an ugly kid from the outskirts of London who wasn't born into the world of luxury but certainly holds his place there now. As the founder of Bluefish, one of the top personal concierge services, and an expert marketer within the luxury industry, Steve has been quoted in various publications including the Wall Street Journal, Forbes, London's Sunday Times, South China Morning Post, and many, many more. He's been on TV and has been a speaker at a variety of networks, groups, and associations, as well as at the Pentagon and Harvard twice. So, want to sing with your favorite rock star, be serenaded by Andre Boceli, walk the red carpet at A-list Oscar parties, get married in the Vatican, dive to the wreck at the Titanic. These are just a few of the highlights of what Steve provides for his clients. He makes the impossible possible. An entrepreneur in the truest sense of the word, Steve is well regarded within the luxury world for his innovation and down-to-earth personality. Known for his honesty, integrity, and doing things his way, Steve creates experiences for his clients that they could never have imagined possible. And it's my great pleasure to have Steve with us today. So welcome, Steve.
Thank you very much. That's a hell of a build-up.
So share with everyone what's going on in your world just now.
Oh, well, we're getting ready for Christmas. So there's a lot of holiday travel, a lot of last-minute events, and really getting everyone queued up now for what we call the awards season that happens here in Los Angeles from January through to March now.
So I mentioned before, I think you're involved in kind of some of these A-list, kind of the Oscar parties as well. How long does the kind of planning take for being involved in some of these things?
It's funny you ask that because I remember years ago starting to plan these as of about Easter the year before. And now I've been doing it for 20 odd years now. We basically start paying attention to it now. So, you know, for the big Oscar ones, and we partnered with Sir Elton John for his party. So there's not a lot of planning required there, just making sure the right people get to go. So it's got easier over the years, shall we say. So
I was reading a post from you the other day and you were talking about themes for the year. So this is probably an appropriate time of year to be talking about themes. So you said last year was 10X. That was your theme for last year. This year's been authenticity. What's the theme for the coming year? Any thoughts yet?
Oh, God, I think my wife sometimes says that there's two people that shouldn't do social feeds, me and Donald Trump. I just every now and then just think, well, this bothers me. I'm just going to post it. So I post as I feel. And I had someone chatting to me, and I think they used every bloody tagline in one conversation. They were like, Steve, I'm crushing it, and I'm getting ready to 10X it because I'm focused on my authenticity. And I just thought, oh, for Christ's sake. So every year we end up with something. And I've noticed Gary V's crushing it is coming back in. We've already had hack. We had life hacks thanks to our good friend Tim a little while ago. So I've got a funny feeling we're going to go old school. We may actually go back to crushing it. Someone said we should just be bluefishing it, so I'm good for that. But
you maybe need to make up your own word. Take one of those old.
We should.
You're an East. I know you're an East London boy originally. Take one of those Cockney rhyming slang words and make it the word of the year.
I think we should just make bollocks the year.
That's it. It's the year of the bollocks.
That's it. Yeah, everything's just bollocks. That's the dog's bollocks. That's the bollocks. Yeah, everything's the bollock. Actually, James, I'm going to start that.
There you go.
So here and now, I'm going to announce that the 2018 word of the year is the dog's bollocks.
You've heard it here. You've heard it here first. How did you get? So you have this top kind of personal concierge company. How did you get involved in this business? Where did it all begin for you?
Oh God, a friend of mine was in London working in the city. I was a bricklayer in East London. I went for a job as an intern. Literally went in the wrong room and went over to Hong Kong with a job. And I landed on the Saturday and I was fired on the Tuesday. So they realized I had no idea what I was doing. And then I started working on clubs on the door, and then started throwing my own little parties. And before you knew it, I had a very, very good circle of people that relied on me where to go for their entertainment and lifestyle. While without realizing it, I was hoping they were all going to give me a job. But inadvertently, I was building up what at the time was a concierge firm. And the requests got crazier and crazier. Can I drive a Formula One Ferrari? Can I do a guitar? Can I do a guitar lesson with ZZ Top? Can I play drums with Guns N' Roses? Can I close down a museum? Can I go to the Titanic? And I just started doing them. I'd love to tell you I planned this, but no, it just became something that I found easy to do. And so I just focused on it.
And even in those early days, kind of putting together kind of parties, were you quite conscious of the kinds of people that you wanted to have? I mean, you're known for doing high end and everything. Was that a very conscious decision right at the start? You wanted a certain kind of high net worths at these events?
Well, I'll be blunt with you. One of my clients actually calls me his favorite blunt instrument. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. Anyone out there, I guarantee, has got a bigger IQ, but I may have a bigger I can. So I had two fundamentals when I was booking a party. One, you had to be affluent, because funny enough, poor people can't afford you. You may love hanging out with poor people, but if you're selling shit, that won't help you. So I started hanging out only with affluent people. Secondly, I wanted no dickheads. I wanted to make sure that I could only deal with people that I could resonate with, that I kind of liked, that I had some kind of respect for. So when you got the a-hole turn up at the door and he was like, yeah, I'm here for the party. If he was coming in with that attitude, we'd just block him and say, sorry, mate, not tonight, we're full. And then we'd let the people behind him in, which would just aggravate him and make us giggle. But we would just make sure that if you were calling, one of the, you may know this story, but one of the ways that we used to filter it is we used to tell you where the party was. And then a few days before the party, we'd send you what the password was to get into the party. And we had some stupid ones. We'd have named two of the Teletubbies. We would have named the lion. This was a tough one, actually. Name the lion out of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And then we had,
and this is pre Wikipedia, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, this was like the 90s in Hong Kong. We didn't have smartphones. You know, you give someone that password now, they're around the corner Googling it. No, they didn't have these things. And you know, that's why it was so good. We would have people come up to the front of the door and they would go, oh, I don't know. The lion out of The Lion of Which, is it Bob? And yeah, obviously it's not Bob, but they would be so humble and ready for fun that we'd be like, it's not, but you can go in. And so we just use that as a filter. We'd have like the heads of banks or Reebok or, you know, a major engineering company in Hong Kong walk up and they'd whisper in our ear, Tinky Winky Po. We'd be like, in you go, fella. So we just used it as a little filter that if you were confident enough and up for a giggle, that was the perfect frame of mind to walk into one of our parties with. Now,
something you mentioned, Tim Ferriss earlier. You know, one of the things I think you can share is your ability to connect with influencers, and not in a kind of a weird kind of way, but actually in a very kind of authentic way. Any tips if you need to try and get to someone and you want to be able to start building a relationship with them? It could be a client, or maybe it's someone you think I would love to, you know, bring this person into an event that I'm kind of doing or something I'm doing. Where does it begin for you?
All right, so everything's got to be approached on an even keel. I actually had a client of mine that wanted to meet Richard Branson. As we were walking towards Richard that I was going to introduce him to, my client actually started to bow.
Wow.
And I said to him, what are you doing? And he was like, oh, you know, it's and I literally slapped him on the back of the head. And I said, look, if you walk over and you put him on another pedestal, you're pushing him away from ever being able to form an even keel relationship. Anyone that you go up to, you have to be on the same level, or quite simply, you're putting distance between you right at the beginning. And why would you do that when you want a relationship? So you've got to be confident, You've got to be calm. And here's the most important thing. You've got to be engaging. Now, the beauty of Google and stuff like that is if there's someone you want to meet, girlfriend, boyfriend, job, boss, celebrity at a come to your event, do a bit of Googling. Find out what they're interested in. It could be cooking. It could be equestrian. It could be the arts. It could be modern mid-century chairs. It could be anything. But approach that person. If you can go to an event, then make sure you're positioned next to them. Wait till they go to the bar and then just stroll over to the bar and go, oh, hey, how are you? I'm sorry about this, but while we're waiting for the drink, did I hear you love modern mid-century chairs? It's all about positioning. And
in terms of even getting to the people, though, you often hear this, the expression, the gatekeepers, or there's a bubble, depending on what the industry or if someone comes from maybe the entertainment side or the music side, there's often a bubble kind of formed around them as well. How do you kind of get through the gatekeepers to even be able to start having that kind of conversation?
So the gatekeepers are there to look out for trolls. Okay, they are looking around to see who's got all starry-eyed, whispering to their friend before they walk over to the celebrity for the phone number. Now, here's the beautiful thing, especially about Hollywood. You know who Brad Pitt is, don't you? Everyone knows who Brad Pitt is. Probably your next door neighbor's dog knows who Brad Pitt is. But do you know his manager? Do you know what his agent looks like? Do you know what his financier looks like? The guy that puts all the money up for the movies? Do you know the head of the studio, what he looks like? And the answer is quite openly, no, you don't. So when you're in an event like that, you've got to walk around like you are the head of a studio. You've got to walk around as though you are just as important. And I'll tell you now, the rich and famous are great, but the richer and unknown have more money.
Yeah.
And so when you're in an event, these gatekeepers are looking around. If you just see someone and you want to go and talk to them, walk up with all the confidence in the planet. And sometimes you'll get a gatekeeper. It may be a doorman. It may be a girl, a guy, whatever. An intern will go, can I help you? And you'll just go, not really. I was getting a drink. Are you all right with that? And they'll be like, oh, yeah. And they will just let you walk straight through because they have no idea who you are. Remember, they don't know who you are.
And what about, you mentioned some of your clients, they'll come to you maybe with almost like a fully formed idea. But what about those clients that come to you with the brief being, it's my wife's 40th birthday. I have no idea what to get. How much of the work that kind of comes your way is people just wanting you to come to them with ideas for this person?
Well, the funny thing is that 9 times out of 10, when they come to us with the idea, we bin it in any case. Because they've come, I'm often floored by how people do dilute their dreams. See, if I ask you things like, what's your social security number? How much money's in your bank account? How tall you are? When was the last time you had sex? All of those questions. What's your religion? If I ask you all of those questions, some of them you'll find uncomfortable. Okay, I'm not asking you them, by the way, but you'll feel uncomfortable about them. But here's the thing. It's a fact. Your social security number is one thing. The amount of money in your bank account is another thing. It's all fact. But if you speak to someone and go, what is your deepest desire? What is going to wake you up at 2:00 in the morning going, holy cow, I cannot believe I did that. What do you want to do? Now I'm getting into your vulnerability. And most people don't want to disclose what their true passion is. They may go, oh, I want to climb Everest. They may actually just want to kind of go canoeing or something. Or they may want to meet, someone off of a movie set or something and have dinner. Or they will never really give you it. So what you do is you've got to drag that out of them. And because of the reputation we have, we quite often get people turn up and go, hey, my wife's going to be 50. It's going to be July. I want to do something around this theme. The rest is yours. Or if they do come to you and they go, oh, I'd really like to meet someone. Then you go, is that all you want to do? Rather than meet them, why don't we have you as a walk-on person in their next movie? Or why don't we arrange that you two, instead of meeting them backstage at a concert, why don't we arrange that you actually sing a happy birthday duet in a studio? We're there to see how far we can take it. You're there to just give us the starting point.
And for someone like with the concierge service, I mean, how do you get known by the kind of clients that you want to get? Is it very much a word of mouth type of thing, or I mean, how does that start? What's the marketing process like for a company like yours?
Oh, it's weird. I do a lot of consulting for people on how to market and how to brand. And the funny thing is, because I learned that I did it all wrong. When we first launched this really weird techie thing called a website, we actually forgot to put a phone number on there. And I was on a TV show, and the woman turned around on this show and turned around and said, "You're so exclusive. You don't even have any way we can contact you." And that euphoria of not being able to contact us made everyone want to contact us. So people don't want what they can buy or they can afford. They want what they can't get. And so we actually became very elusive. And I don't know, 3 or 4, 5, maybe 6 different revisions of the website now. We've never put contact details on there because you have to know how to get hold of us, or you have to do some real heavy digging. And that makes the people that get to us already vetted, already showing that they've got commitment to get us.
And if we think about let's say an author, and their a lot of their reputation comes around kind of testimonials. People write reviews of the book, or a band, they get reviews of their album. What are your reviews? How does that work? Is it just it doesn't kind of work in that same way, or it's just kind of conversations when clients come to you? Are they looking for kind of referrals, or people to listen, I want to check you out, that you can do what you say you can do?
So we are very referral based. So we will send someone to a private dinner party in the academia. He will go home. He will tell all of his friends about it. One of his friends will go, "Oh, I want to do something like that." He'll make an intro. And then we interview them. That's one thing we do. We interview every client. Now, regarding the media, we get a ton of media. And that's really good because, again, it tells people that, Bluefish was last seen with Elton John at his Oscar party, or last seen doing this in the Vatican. And then they have to start digging heavily. And they'll DM us through our social feeds or things like that. And we'll send them a link where they can apply for membership. But we're very, very discerning. We take those people on that, again, just like the original days, that resonate, that we like, are humble, good, solid people.
And was there a need, as you were kind of starting to deal with maybe a lot of kind of high net worth, maybe especially from the business community, CEOs, because you're very much, jeans, black t-shirt, bike, that's kind of who you are. Did you feel that you had to kind of like change things up? Did you feel you had to, especially being in LA as well, did you feel you had to kind of tone down the Britishness, the Londonness, and become more American in that way?
Funny enough, and you've just upset me now, James. You brought up a dark period of my life. I'm actually in Los Angeles because I like riding motorcycles. The funny thing is that my clients are all over the world. I could be working out of Leytonstone now. It wouldn't make any difference. I'm here quite simply because it's perpetual sunshine and great motorcycle roads. But there was a time in my life in the early 2000s that I was starting to get very well known for what I did. And you're right. I actually woke up one day. I don't know why, but I woke up one day, and I've always been a guy in black t-shirt, jeans, turning up on a motorcycle. I don't own a car, yet I own about 15 bikes. I woke up and thought, no one's going to take me seriously. I'm turning up with a helmet and a leather jacket on. I better change. I literally went out. I got tailor-made suits. I bought a car. I took my earrings out. And 2 things happened. One, my business increased. My money increased. I got more clients. But the second thing that happened was I didn't know who these clients were because I had no connection with them. Because I was putting on a costume. They were responding to the costume. I was making more money with people I didn't resonate with. I was becoming very unhappy. And I couldn't see how this was going wrong because, hey, I had the suit, I had the look, I had the perception, I had the reputation, but I wasn't happy. I actually decided at that point in time to take that marketing and just go back to being me and see if it worked. I lost those clients because those clients wanted to deal with a guy in a fancy car and a slick suit. But I found that I got more clients that resonated with me. And that's when the referral thing comes in. When you're dealing with someone that resonates with you, you can tap them on the shoulder and go, hey, James, what have I done wrong over the past year? And they turn around and they go, nothing. Great. Can you tell 5 people that?
Just that simple process of just asking for the referral.
Yes, so many people. Do you know, I did I was booked on a consulting gig for a real estate firm in Vegas. And they paid my flight, they paid my fee, they got over there, and they said, you know, we want to do this marketing. And these guys had loads and loads of clients, perfect wealthy clients. And they turned around and they said to me, how do we do it? And I said, okay, I'm going to put everything in a nutshell. And I told them that. And I said, how many of you here have clients? You know, how many clients do you have? How many of them are unhappy? How many of you have physically asked your clients what you've done wrong? And that's a great one. When you do a transaction with anyone, this could be fixing your car, this could be painting your bathroom, this could be selling a house. Ask the client, what could I have done better in this experience, getting you into your home, getting the paint in your bathroom, getting you a new kitchen unit? What could have been better? And if you've done your job, they're going to come back and go, do you know, Roger, Steve, Billy, nothing. It was flawless. Excellent. I like clients I like. I like you. Your friends like you. Tell 5 of them exactly what you just told me. And you can take it a step further. You can even, if you've got samples, like a little piece of tile from the kitchen or something like that, or something that's kind of like a bit quirky, say, give 5 people this tile. You know, it's one I designed. Give them that tile and tell them the same thing.
So you're kind of what you were kind of doing there as well with your kind of clothing and your whole image, just going back to kind of actually who you were. It's almost like your vibe attracts your tribe. So even though you were pushing some people away, you were actually getting to work with more of the people that you actually enjoyed working with, which then I'm guessing would also help the referrals because the experience is better for everyone.
Do you know, I had never heard it put as eloquently and as good as that. So I'm going to steal it.
So you're hearing these ones here first. We're hearing it's the year of the bollocks, so we're getting all these. So you've got this new book that's just recently come out, Bluefishing: The Art of Making Things Happen. First of all,
yep.
You're a busy guy. Why did you write a book? You know, because books. It's a lot of work to get a book.
Oh,
what made
God.
you decide to want to write a book at this point in your life?
Would you remember earlier in the conversation I said I was a blunt instrument? Intelligence didn't kick in when I got offered the book. So 3 months down the line, yes, I should have realized that it was a lot harder than I first thought. And maybe I wouldn't have done it. Funny enough, I'd always been asked to do TV shows and books on my clients. And I never wanted to do that. And I've never, ever mentioned a client. Never will, never gonna. But about 7 years ago, I started doing a lot of speeches in like the Pentagon. I know you mentioned Harvard and Stanford. I started speaking at entrepreneurial events, not on, hey, what Steve Sims did, but hey, this is how I do it. This is my structure. You can take that. So I was doing a QuickBooks, you know, a kind of like guide for dummies kind of thing on my speeches. And then someone actually asked me to do a book on, hey, we know you do this, but surely the fundamentals are the same. So we decided to knock it down on branding, communication, building relationships, firing your vampires, getting in front of a celebrity. So I put all of the stuff in 20 plus years that I had been doing to get to where I am and with the people I've been doing them with. We stuck it in a really simple book that's impossible to misunderstand and basically screaming out to be action. And that's why we did it. I felt it was time.
Well, what surprised you in the process of writing a book?
How much that you do that you didn't realize other people didn't. And it actually got me aggravated. I would speak with him. We had this ghostwriter, which I hated. Okay. And I spoke to my publicist and I said, I want to get rid of this ghostwriter. And they went, you don't have a ghostwriter, you have a translator. And I said, what do you mean I have a translator? And they went, that's to get the nuggets that you take for granted and give them to the people that have never heard of you.
Yeah.
As soon as I started looking at my ghostwriter as a translator, we had a solid relationship. And I would say something and she would go, whoa, hang on a minute. How did you do that? And I'd be like, well, I just did this and this. And she went, No one does that.
Hmm.
What are you kidding? And I was stunned at how many people avoid the simple stuff to try and overcomplicate crap. And so that's where it really became strong, that aggravatedly people overlook the easy to do, powerful, simple stuff.
And I think that's an important point you just made there, also for anyone listening who maybe has that skill of being that interpreter, because there's lots of people with great things in their heads. They do it very naturally. I've worked with a lot of kind of music artists that they're in that same thing, but in order to be able to teach what they do or to share it with other people, they need someone to come in and ask some of the dumb questions, dumb questions, because for you it's so natural doing some of these things. But unless you kind of reverse engineer it and you have someone there on the other side asking what may seem like stupid questions, you won't kind of pull out all those nuggets of information. Exactly, yes. So we've been talking a little bit about the book as well. If there was one thing that you could just give, I mean, this is someone was telling me the other day about writing a speech, and they said that they kind of had to boil it down, like, why am I writing this speech? And someone said to them, if there's one thing, if you had, an hour with your son, daughter, the one thing you could pass on to them, what would it be? And that's the thing to make your speech about. That's the thing to make maybe that book about as well. What was the one core idea that you found, you maybe discovered in writing kind of Bluefishing, that you would want to pass on to maybe other people that kind of come after you in terms of doing the kind of work that you do, but maybe people more generally that are looking to kind of work with more kind of discreet, type of clients?
Communication. You can get a car that can drive itself. You can get a phone that will dial itself. You can get automation on absolutely anything. You can download an app that can translate Chinese and Japanese for you that you've never even been to. You still can't download something that can communicate. Now, everyone out there going, oh, there's Twitter, there's Snapchat. These are not communication platforms, and you're an idiot if you think they are. These are platforms where you shout a message and you hope someone responds to it. It's as effective as standing outside a building and throwing a load of pieces out the window and hoping someone picks up and looks up at the window and goes, yeah, this is funny. That's what those platforms are for. They are not fully engaged lines of communication. And I think we're losing it the more that are being developed.
And it's interesting on that, because I speak a lot about artificial intelligence and everything that's showing you in terms of where things like AI are going. I know you've worked with very well-known CEOs in that space as well, but everything you see, the skills that are going to be the required skills of the future are creativity, personal communications, is all those things that you're talking about, because they're the things that are really, really difficult to do.
And that's the funny thing. There's no course. And if anything, all the technology that we're getting now is actually diluting our ability to communicate. You look at a bunch of kids, or anyone up into their 30s, or even, mums and stuff. You walk into a coffee shop now, that used to be a place where people used to just chat with each other. But now everyone's got their heads in their phone, checking off all their emails and stuff.
So you were saying apps and things, people being completely immersed in them, but not really communicating. But I'm going to ask you one question. What is that one app, that tool, that mobile app that you have that you find really useful for doing the work that you do?
Probably just my contact list. I'm constantly making notes. Oh no, actually my voice recorder. I actually use this a lot. I find that I can do more with my voice than I can with my fingers. Mm-hmm. So if I'm sat somewhere, or if I'm working on something and something comes up into my head, I won't try to write it down. I'll hit record and I'll go, hey, I was just thinking of this, and blah, blah, blah. And then sometimes I will just text that. I try not to email. I will text that to my client, my vendor, my partner, to get their opinion on it. Or I will even text it or email it to myself. So then I'll kind of like looking at my emails to see what emails I haven't answered. And there'll be a voicemail from me going, I was thinking about the website, and why don't we have it do this? And why don't we push it? So I use the voicemail a lot.
Great little. I use that exactly the same thing, because I can speak a lot faster than I can write. So that's a great tip as well. What about books? If you do recommend one book to our listeners, what would it be?
Oh, one book. Dear. Gary Vee's done some brilliant ones on marketing. Jab, Jab, Hook was great. Jay Abraham.
Yep.
Is just, I'm actually again with him tomorrow night. I have to give that guy a shout out. He's got some brilliant work. Pick anything he's done. But also, here's one that you may not be expecting, anything by Dr. Zeus. Dr. Zeus just has this ability to just screw with real life and just suddenly get you out into another world, another dimension. And that creativity is what really gets my juices flowing. The guy, how they can think up some of this stuff. I want to be drinking what he was drinking.
So when you're on your bike, what is the music that you're listening to? What is that record, that album that kind of gets you going?
Ooh, well, the good thing is when you're on a bike, the soundtrack's the engine. But I'm also very eclectic on music. When I had my house done for me here in LA, I spent a small fortune on the audio system, yet literally just went down to Best Buy to buy a cheap-ass TV. I don't care about so much as what I watch as to what I hear. And I have my music on rotate, on shuffle, so I can literally have some Elton John, followed by Pearl Jam, followed by Queen, followed by George Michael, followed by Andre Boceli or Mozart. It just is so eclectic that I like anything that stirs up a memory, emotion, and engagement.
And is there one album that you have suggested to other people more than any other? You've said to people, listen, you've got to check this out. And it could be an old classic or something more new.
I don't think I could ever get bored of listening to Queen.
Who can get bored of listening to Queen? I believe there's a movie coming out just now as well. It's going to be coming out soon, all about Freddie Mercury's life as well. So, final question for you here. Let's imagine you woke up tomorrow morning and had to start from scratch. So you got all the tools of your trade, all the knowledge that you've acquired over the years, but no one knows you. You know no one. You have no contacts in that little black book. What would you do? How would you restart?
Ooh, how would I restart? Probably the same way I do it every day. Get up, get out. I know that the book's called The Art of Making Things Happen, not sit on your ass and it will come to you. So the first thing you've got to do is if you want to catch fish, go where fish feed. So if you want affluent clientele, start hanging out where affluent clientele hang out. Bars, clubs, jewelry parties. Go to a high-end store and find out when that Christmas party is, if it's now. And then just start kind of like mingling, start getting into the right kind of clientele. I've been amazed at how many people want rich clients, yet go to the wrong parties.
So Bluefishing, The Art of Making Things Happen, is out now. We're going to have a link to it here as well. But where else should people go if they want to connect with you, learn more about your other kind of products and services that you have?
Well, I've got stevedsims.com, which is SIMS, just one M. Or you can go to thebluefish.com to hear about all the concierge, wild and wacky stuff that we get up to.
Well, Steve, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you today. I wish you all the best in the year of the bollocks, and hopefully we'll get a chance to catch up next time I'm in LA.
I appreciate it, and make sure you do.
Hey, James Taylor here again. And if you're interested in living a more creative life, then I'd love to invite you to join me as I share some of the most successful strategies and techniques that high-performing creatives use. I put them all together in a free downloadable ebook that you can get by going to jamestaylor.me. That's jamestaylor.me to get your free downloadable ebook on creativity.